My name's Jack. I think I've said that already. I wanted to try to make someone understand what's happening to me. Well, not to me, to all of us. This isn't the ramblings of a madman or someone that has lost his marbles. I want to be able to prove to you that I know what I am doing. He was uncomfortable. Being in front of the camera wasn't somewhere that Jack liked to be. The only time he had ever felt this nervous was the time that he had asked Dee out on their first date. That was 6 years ago, and he had known her for 6 years previous to that. Through all that time, he knew she was the one, the only true love of his life. But it was complicated, and he was so unsure of himself that he dare not talk to her. The cramps in his stomach that he would get every time he looked at her were the same ones that he was experiencing now, but for totally different reasons. Today is the first day for a long time which I can actually see clearly, knowing what I am going to do with the rest of my life. In the past, I worried about everything and nothing. I had my own spin on the world. A faint smile appeared as he knew what people thought of him. His views weren't shared by many. In fact, other than his father and Dee, he was sure no one else ever understood him. My book isn't complete, and won't ever be, because we keep changing. We keep striving for something that we shouldn't. I may be a person that puts my spin on the world, but I'm not the worst. We live in a world that is faded in one direction, and we keep changing it. But that is not what this is about. I suppose I want to apologize, and this is the only way I could think of doing this, and after today and yesterday, probably the safest. Jack took a moment to look at the camera. He needed to do this correctly, in such a way that they would understand. I should start with Dee. I'm so sorry. I never meant for us to end the way we did, and I know that I wasn't perfect, wasn't close. But the more time spent looking back, the more I realized that I was just pushing you away from me with everything I did. I wanted all the things that you wanted. This house to become a home, our home. But I never really gave it much of a chance. His hands were up by his head, as all these feelings just reminded him of the tears he had lost over her, and covering his eyes was the best form of defense. He had cried every night since he realized she was no longer there. Jack hadn't seen it coming, or didn't even notice that she had gone, like going to the fridge one day and finding there was no milk. She had left him a note on his desk, but the room had started to fill with more and more boxes, and it got knocked off. He tried to call, but she didn't pick up. He found the letter a month later, and spent a day in bed crying over what he had done and what he had lost. It was the only day off he had had in a long time. Every night, his last thoughts were always of her, before he tried to close his eyes. Work was so busy, and I started to write as a distraction from work, when you should have been my distraction. You are the only woman I have ever loved, and I hope you are happy. I hope that everything we dreamed of, you get. I know it will never be with me, but still want that for you. Losing you to this has made me understand that I never deserved to be with you. I now know we were never meant to be.